As soon as the day began to take shape in Tyneside, that hard-to-define atmosphere emerged, almost as if something was shifting right under everyone's noses, but without any official announcement or explosive headline. It was the kind of feeling that leaves supporters uneasy, imagining that a crucial piece is about to be moved behind the scenes, a piece capable of changing the club's current moment. And when that sort of atmosphere appears, it usually means something big is approaching, even if no one quite knows what it is. Those quiet moments that precede change often carry enormous weight for Newcastle fans, especially after weeks of frustrating results that have shaken the confidence of many. And before you discover where this story is heading, here's a quick reminder. Make sure to subscribe to the channel. It genuinely helps us keep delivering in-depth analysis and reliable news about Newcastle United. Now let's move on, because today's story deserves full attention. As the hours passed, it became clear that something different was in the air. It wasn't just about poor results or recent setbacks. It was something deeper, tied to how the club is approaching what lies ahead. This perception grew stronger when November's fixture list was examined, a demanding schedule, tough opponents, and a pressure that never seems to ease. And of course, this put one specific name at the center of everything: Eddie Howe. And that's exactly where the narrative took an unexpected turn, bringing questions, doubts, and a flood of opinions on how Newcastle should react to what's coming next. Before we dive into the heart of this discussion, here's another quick reminder. If you're a passionate Newcastle fan and want to receive exclusive content like this, make sure to subscribe. It strengthens the channel and allows me to keep bringing detailed information your way. According to information compiled by Football Insider, Eddie Howe urgently needs to capitalize on Newcastle's recent failure, a decline that dragged the club down from the legendary status it had reached just months ago. This is not only about poor results, it is about a sharp drop that exposed deep competitive and structural flaws, now leaving the manager with a dangerous opportunity, turning crisis into fuel. And, as you might expect, that won't be easy. November's schedule made this need even more evident. Newcastle face a brutal clash against Manchester City at St. James Park, taking on one of the most lethal attacks in Europe. Holland is in excellent form, and Howe's defense has been anything but reliable. It's impossible not to think that this match could determine a lot about the club's rhythm over the coming weeks, especially considering what comes after. The team then faced two away games: Olympique de Marseille in the Champions League and Everton in the Premier League. Two hostile environments, two unpredictable opponents, and two matches that could determine whether Howe withstands the rising pressure. Without at least one win in this run, many analysts predict the tension on his job will grow even further, possibly affecting the club's planning for the transfer window. And when we talk about pressure, it's impossible to ignore the performance of several players who, not long ago, were key pillars of the squad. Many of them are among the highest paid at the club. Howe has always remained loyal to what he considers his core group, but that core has failed at decisive moments, triggering a wave of criticism that grows stronger each week. By the way, if you want to keep following these detailed breakdowns of individual performances, consider subscribing to the channel so you don't miss anything. Today, the highest paid player in the team is still Bruno Guimaraes. The Brazilian, even during difficult spells, usually maintains a high level, something recognized by both supporters and analysts. But of course, even he isn't immune to dips. In recent defeats to West Ham and Brentford, the number 39 was far from his best, and that also impacted the team's overall performance. Even so, Bruno has already scored 3 goals this season and has been crucial in key victories, such as his stunner against Nottingham Forest that paved the way for an essential win. He is, without doubt, a vital piece. However, other high-profile names cannot say the same. Among them are Joelinton and Anthony Gordon, both of whom earn £150,000 per week and have produced no goals or assists across 16 combined matches. Worrying numbers for players expected to be protagonists. On the other hand, Nick Woltemade has justified every penny of the £69 million spent on his signing, earning £132,500 per week. He has already scored 4 Premier League goals and has been one of the few genuinely positive aspects in the team's inconsistent campaign. Expectations are that he will grow even more throughout the season and become indispensable for Howe. A very different situation surrounds Anthony Elanga, who cost £55 million and earns just over £100,000 per week. According to analyst Raj Chowan, his signing was an overreach for the club's current moment, particularly because the Swede has yet to fully settle on the wings. He is still goalless since arriving, something that has frustrated supporters. Even so, Elanga will have time, and Howe knows that. The player has only made 17 appearances for Newcastle, far too early for definitive judgments. There is confidence that, with rhythm and adaptation, he will find his best form and justify the investment. However, with issues in other areas of the squad, fan patience has limits, and Howe must decide how to manage this process. And this is where the discussion becomes more serious. According to analysis from the Daily Mail, a player once considered legendary in Tyneside may now need to be moved on. We're talking about Joe Willock, a name that once symbolized hope, youth and talent, but who now faces a worrying decline. And before continuing, another reminder, if you want to follow all these updates firsthand, subscribe to the channel. It's quick and helps massively. At the peak of his time at Newcastle, Willock was simply brilliant. In his first season, he scored in 7 consecutive Premier League matches, a feat celebrated nationwide and praised by Mikel Arteta, who described him as a special talent. Kevin Campbell, former Arsenal striker, even said Willock had produced legendary numbers and was treated like a god by the Newcastle fanbase. But time passed, injuries piled up, confidence dropped, and his performances declined sharply. Today, Willock looks like a completely different player from the one who once lit up St. James Park with decisive goals. His drop in form has worried the club, especially considering he is on a high salary and occupies an important role in the squad. And once again, Howe stands at the center of the decision. The crucial point is that even in this turbulent scenario, there is a hidden opportunity. According to analyst Luke Edwards, Howe still has the chance to turn this difficult spell into a turning point. He can redefine the playing style, reorganize priorities, refresh areas of the squad and, most importantly, rebuild the supporters' confidence. But this requires one essential element: courage. And that courage is not only about choosing one player over another, it is about accepting that Newcastle are no longer the team that reached legendary status months ago and that the squad desperately needs substantial adjustments. It is about admitting that the crisis exposed weaknesses that must be addressed now, because the season waits for no one. And of course it is about knowing how to use failure as a starting point, not as a sentence. Howe faces a difficult path, but he also has weapons, has quality in the squad and, above all, has the support of a fan base that still believes in the project, even through the darkest moments. And if you are part of this passionate community, here's my final invitation. Subscribe to the channel to keep receiving exclusive news, in-depth analysis, and everything happening behind the scenes at Newcastle United. Here, you never miss a thing.